Well, the narrative continues. Can South Carolina be stopped? Well, wasn't this time against Missouri, 81-50 in another blowout by the Gamecocks. Now 18-0, number one team in the country by far. I'm sure we're going to continue to see a perfect rating at the top of the AP vote. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Slasher U. I'm your host, Christian Rao, here with my co-host, Steve Feck. We're going to break down this game. South Carolina beating Missouri 81-50. I mean, Aliyah Boston does it again, Steve. When we talk about this, I feel like it's just we might be a broken record. And I'm okay with this conversation. And I'm sure South Carolina fans are okay with that broken record talk as well, because the broken record is one of those real nice ones. I mean, it's Abbey Road. It's just one of those, the White Album. I think the White Album is actually better than Abbey Road.
I agree. I agree.
Okay, good, fantastic. However, Aliyah Boston, again, with another double-double. Check this out before I throw it over to you. This was her 71st career double-double. She is now only one shy of breaking South Carolina's career record for double-doubles. She is very close. I would say, I mean, it's still 15 away. I don't know if she's going to get 15 more this season. I highly doubt it. But if you were curious, Sylvia Fowles owns the SEC record with 86. 86 is absolutely outstanding. However, 71 for Aliyah Boston is very good indeed. She was great tonight. 20 points, 10 rebounds, 6 for 9 from the field in only 20 minutes. When we see these blowouts, we're lucky if we get 20 minutes from Aliyah Boston. That's what we did. She still got her double-double, and she was out. We saw some great things from Zia Cook as well. 16 points on that one. Again, go back to that great Dawn Staley talk. Look at all of the players that played for South Carolina in this. And you can count them. There's more bench players than starting five. You know, you had some great things going, and that's exactly what they did. They played 12 players yet again. Fantastic stuff. When you see Raven Johnson playing some just fantastic bench numbers, and you're still winning by 31, Raven Johnson's been doing some great things. I can go on and on about this South Carolina team, as you can see I'm doing right now, Steve, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about this Gamecocks?
Well, the first thing I had written down on the card was, once again, Dawn Staley uses the rotation to her advantage. I mean, Ashlyn Watkins was the player that got more minutes than she has over the last 3 or 4 games. And it's every game that someone like that steps into a role. It has to be by design and who the opponent is. I'm sure she's not just pulling names out of a hat and say, oh, hey, Ashlyn, you're going to play some more tonight. It seems to be working to have Raven Johnson coming off the bench, in relief of Fletcher. Though another interesting thing, Fletcher and Johnson were on the court at the same time. I want to say for 5 or 6 minutes in this game. They actually played in the same backcourt. So, yeah, I mean, you almost start running out of superlatives, for this South Carolina team. I think the only thing we can start doing now is starting to see if the WNBA wants to expand and just move this whole roster, direct. I mean, I realize it causes draft problems because everybody's trying to draft South Carolina players in the WNBA draft, but maybe you just make them an expansion team, and I would guess in 2 years, they're going to a conference final. In 3 years, they're probably winning the WNBA. That's how amazing this team really is. But Aliyah Boston, for me, had the play of the year. And it might not be really fancy highlight type of stuff, but she grabbed a rebound. She brought the ball up herself, past half court, top of the key, handed the ball off, and then somehow she kind of snuck her way in behind the defenders, under the rim. They got the pass to her, back over her head, easy layup. That for me was the best play I've seen all year, as far as showing one player setting up her team for success on both ends of the basket. It was just wonderful to watch that. And then it still amazes me every first quarter, South Carolina is kind of like, and then I have to admit, I was kind of excited to see how Missouri would do against South Carolina. I didn't hold any false beliefs that they would really win this game, but I thought they could maybe keep it closer. But again, another really talented team just gets, tossed aside, in the face of what Dawn Staley and her players are doing. It's incredible. It really is incredible. I almost don't want to do more South Carolina games because my vocabulary was relatively small. So I'm eventually going to, rather than repeat myself, I'm going to just have to let you talk all the time because I don't know what else to say about this team.
Well, honestly, I mean, there's a lot of things you can talk about with this team. I mean, with South Carolina, the first thing that I like to always look at, and then you talked about it originally, is that first quarter, because sometimes we do see this team start off a little slow, but then they get right back into it. And obviously 1917 was the end of the first quarter score. Then they scored 28 points to only Missouri's 11 in the second quarter. And then that's when we knew this one was over. We weren't going to see this team catch back up, not to a team like South Carolina. You know, I can't stop thinking about this WNBA conversation that we just had about South Carolina. Now I want to know what the mascot name would be if we had a team expand from Columbia, South Carolina. However, I don't have one. So if you got one, let me know in the comments. What would that mascot name be? Columbia what? Because, hey, I'd take this team against some of these WNBA squads as well. They look really good. Aliyah Boston played fantastic. There's one narrative going around. I see it in the comments a lot in our South Carolina videos, is that, you know, the last video we had, I asked the question, can South Carolina be stopped? Some of the comments was that they were a little concerned about the three-point shooting. Their season average is 31.2%, not the greatest. Unfortunately, they were below average in this game. So if you want to nitpick at something, we can still discuss that. 29.4% from the three-point line. In this one, you still won by 31, but when you're playing tougher opponents, that's something that we might have to look at as a potential weakness. When you're shooting below 30%, that's obviously could be a concern. They did shoot 17 attempts. They were 5 for 17 in this one. The fact that they continue to shoot them, I think, is still great. I think it's still good things. However, if they go and take off against some of these other tough teams, you know, a Tennessee comes to mind, a UConn when they play them this season, you have to think that those games, you really need that three-point to really take off.
Yeah, I think it's nice. I don't want to call it a luxury part of the South Carolina attack. But I mean, again, they keep getting themselves to the free throw line. And I think that can offset any quote unquote weakness that they have from beyond the arc. Because I mean, if you're going, what did they go 28 times to the line? They made 22 or 28. If you're doing that, I mean, you're not only giving yourself a chance to set up defensively coming off of a made free throw. I mean, you're forcing the other team then also to perhaps get some of their better players in foul trouble. Haley Frank, I believe her last name is. I mean, in theory, as far as scoring, she's the best Missouri player they have. She was neutralized because of her foul trouble. Now, I mean, I personally like Lauren Hansen a lot. I like her game. You and I only got to watch this on highlights because we can only watch 16, 17 games at a time. We can't always watch every single game all the way through. But I mean, I just really like her game. I think her threat, I mean, early on in the game, she hit her first 2 threes. And I think that then forces a defense to kind of spread its focus a little bit more on both of their backcourt players. So in theory, you're getting a team out of its rhythm. So I think that's where Jansen could help this Missouri team, get to the NCAAs. I mean, Missouri beat South Carolina in 2022. I mean, South Carolina wasn't real happy about it. And I think this is a little bit of a revenge game for them. But South Carolina hasn't lost at home since 2020. That's unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. There's no doubt about that. As for Missouri, I mean, when you look at their schedule, they're going through the absolute gauntlet right now. Whoever created their schedule, I mean, deserves to hit the road. They just lost to South Carolina. The game before that, they lost to LSU. Now they go to take on Tennessee on Sunday, 3:00 on SEC Network. I mean, you just going through the absolute gauntlet of the SEC right now. That's just unreal. So Missouri, I mean, do what you can. But, I mean, it's just a really tough task, no doubt. As for South Carolina, we're going to see them head into the We Back Pat Invitational. They're going to take on Vanderbilt, SEC Network on Thursday, 7:00. Vanderbilt's currently 9-9 overall. They have not yet won a game in the SEC. So, if you put that into context, I have a feeling we're going to see a 19-0 South Carolina team. The narrative continues. Can South Carolina be stopped? My answer continues to remain no. I have not seen a team that can even remotely come close, even with some of those slow woes, and some maybe the scores might look a little closer than this 31-point win tonight. However, no team this season with the exception of possibly Stanford at moments in that game. I know they took it to overtime, so you got to give the nod there where it's due. But other than that, I don't know if any team is going to be able to run with the Gamecocks.
I have to agree with you there. You have to wonder how much that game took out of Stanford. I know we're talking about SEC here, but just a bigger picture NCAA wise, you always hear that's about if a team, that's why they went to that new extra inning rule in baseball. If a team had to play 17, 18, 19 innings, it screwed them up for 2 weeks because their bullpen was out of whack and all the other things kind of came into play and cost them to go on a losing streak. I got to wonder if that emotional toll, because it was a very emotional game too. I mean, it was very intense start to finish. I wonder if that really has had a negative effect on Stanford, which could only play to South Carolina's advantage come tournament time.
Well, Stanford was looking good, except that loss to USC just tonight. So you're right. Maybe there was some emotional toll. We did see them get their second loss in this one. We are going to have a new number 2 in the conversation come Monday, but we know that South Carolina is going to remain at number 1. Let us know your thoughts in the comment description below about this South Carolina win. Continue the narrative with me. Can this team be stopped? If so, who? Let me know. And let me know your concerns more about your three-point shooting or anything else in the comment description below. Those are appreciated. If you can't tell, I'm reading them. I might not be able to get to reply to all of them because there's so many great comments out there. You guys are overloading me. I absolutely love it. Keep bringing it. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe while you're there. And thanks for watching SlasherU.